Good morning. I'm Jake Sherman.
And I'm Andrew Desiderio.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It is Monday, August 18th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, the huge White House meeting. Number two, the House climate in Arizona. And number three, two big developments on the political front. Let's get into it. We are lucky to have Andrew this week, not, in spite of the fact that he's a Philadelphia sports fan. But
which, if you're on video, you can probably see. Hopefully. There we go. Go Birds.
He's wearing an Eagles sweatshirt, it is what it is. I have nothing that I could talk about Washington sports that's worth anything even mentioning. Andrew, your phone alarm is going off, which is okay because this is a real life podcast. And we're also lucky because the three things we're talking about this morning, all three of them, for better or worse, are in Andrew's wheelhouse. Part of it he did not write, but much of it he did. So, Andrew, let's get started with the top story of the morning, the White House meeting. It seems like the entirety of Europe is coming to Washington today to meet with President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. We have the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor, Italian Prime Minister, Finnish President, NATO Secretary General, European Commission President. I cannot remember any meeting like this probably since the Iraq War. What say you about this meeting?
Well, what do you think they're going to have for lunch, Jake? Is it going to be catered by the Italians?
I saw, Andrew, the menu was leaked.
That's right.
In Anchorage. But I mean, how extraordinary is this, and what is their goal going to be? I mean, I guess the sense is they're going to try to realign President Trump. But what do you make of this?
Yeah, look, there's this sense that President Trump is backing President Zelensky into a corner and might force him to accept a deal that he really doesn't want to accept. And so the idea of those European leaders that you just rattled off being here in Washington is to really sort of give him some backup and to make the point, even if symbolically, to the president and to the White House and his administration more broadly, that the Ukrainians' interests have to be kept in mind here. Now, Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio over the weekend were asserting that very concept, but the European leaders, I would say, are skeptical at best that is the posture that President Trump is going to be maintaining here.
What did you make, Andrew? And I agree with everything you said, but what did you make of the reporting over the weekend that Trump is willing to give security guarantees to the Ukrainians? I mean, I would say this is it's definitely a shift in Trump's posture, because he has said basically in the past, this is Europe's problem. Europe's got to deal with it. We don't have anything to do with this. We're not putting troops on the ground. I mean, first of all, what'd you make of it? And second, what do you think a security guarantee mean from the United States? Does this mean there's a chance for boots on the ground in the region? I mean, what does this look like?
It certainly means there is a chance for that. Remember, whatever comes of this, Congress is going to have to do something, right, to provide the money for it, the authorization for it in the annual defense policy bill as well. This isn't just something that the administration can do on its own. And remember, if it's a security guarantee, a long-term security guarantee, that means it has to outlast multiple presidents in theory, right? So it has to be something that the Congress can agree to and that can actually be enduring. As to what it looks like, it's anybody's guess at this point. But what Steve Witkoff was saying the other day was that this is basically something that would be Article 5 like. Article 5 is obviously referring to the NATO Charter, which says that an attack on one is an attack on all. So again, it really would depend how this is structured and whether you could get buy-in from Congress long term in a bipartisan fashion. I think you could, but again, it just depends what it looks like.
It'll be tough, Andrew. It'll be tough. I mean, here's what I would say on that. I think personally that Congress is going, I mean, we all know the general vibe of Congress right now vis-a-vis Ukraine, right? Democrats are for it. Republicans are deeply, deeply split against it. I mean, in a 220 seat, I guess, or around 220, I forget what they are now, 219 maybe, Republican House majority, I would say it's fewer than half of House Republicans are for more money to Ukraine. Maybe that changes, and there are those in the House, and it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene, but there are those in the House who will say President Trump is not for protecting Ukraine. He's been convinced by globalists to do a bad deal with Ukraine. I mean, you could just see the arguments right now. And it's unclear to me how much capital the president is going to want to put into something like this. It's going to be a big test for him. And I think that's going to be a difficult thing.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Number 2 story of the morning, Andrew, you recently made a trip to Phoenix where Democrats are taking their case against Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill, not only to all 50 states, but to Arizona specifically, which is going to be a very key state, a bunch of House races. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, well, first off, Phoenix in August.
Yeah, it must be really nice, Andrew.
Yeah, triple digits every day. It was like 95 degrees before 9 a.m., all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you should relocate to Arizona where the summers are beautiful.
Yeah, no, I'm good. But look, there's a lot that's going to be happening there next year politically. I spent a lot of time with Senator Mark Kelly, first and foremost, who is taking some extra involvement in those races himself. Yep. He's really working to topple a couple of House Republicans from his own state.
Well, that's good because the other senator, Ruben Gallego, is now President Ruben Gallego, and he's spending a lot of time in New Hampshire, a lot of time in key
Iowa.
States across Iowa. So it's good that Mark Kelly is looking at Arizona as a main attraction.
Yeah. Well, look, he's doing town halls in those Republican districts. He's going out into rural areas. What we're focusing on really this morning is Juan Ciscomani. He's a more moderate Republican, first elected in 2022. His district is a real battleground. I mean, this is a district that Trump won only by 0.7% back in 2024, whereas Trump won the entire state of Arizona by 5.5 points. Ciscomani, meanwhile, won his race by 2.5 points. So I think that's all worth mentioning to show that, Republicans believe he's a uniquely strong candidate here. But look, Democrats, obviously, they're using the one big beautiful bill in all 50 states. But if they really want to flip the House of Representatives, which they do in 2026, let's make no mistake about that, they're going to need that strategy to work in places like Arizona, where Trump, like I said before, Trump won the state. He's broadly popular in the state. He has things he can point to as wins, such as securing the border. This precipitous drop we've seen in illegal border crossings. But Democrats see Juan Ciscomani in particular as very vulnerable here because he drew a lot of red lines in the sand on Medicaid cuts, in particular, leading up to the passage of the bill itself. Just a week before the Senate passed the bill, for example, Ciscomani and 15 other House Republican moderates wrote a letter really trashing the Senate framework when it comes to Medicaid and criticizing the bill, saying it's something we can't support or accept. They said that the provider tax crackdown was too steep. It would impact rural communities, Hispanic communities like the ones that Ciscomani represents. And then just a week later, of course, he turned around and voted for the bill. And that's something that Democrats are really highlighting here as they try to topple lawmakers like Ciscomani. They're also going to go after David Schweikert in the Phoenix suburbs area. He's got a bunch of Democratic opponents. Again, the primary isn't until a year from now. So we're talking next August. So while Ciscomani has, there's a favorite in the Democratic primary. Her name is Joanna Mendoza, endorsed by Senator Kelly. They still have to fight it out with their primary opponents over the next year or so, which could hurt their chances a little bit.
Here's what I'll say on Arizona very quickly before we move on to the number 3 story of the morning. I was in Arizona last cycle and this brings it back to the leadership, our North Star here. Well, all of this is our North Star, but I'll tell you about what I saw last cycle. I was there with Steve Scalise in Ciscomani's district and in Schweikert's district. Schweikert has a district that includes many of the upscale kind of areas in the Phoenix environs, and it is going to cost Republicans a lot of money in Arizona. I mean, Juan Ciscomani took up a lot of resources for House Republicans last cycle. CLF, the Congressional Leadership Fund, the House Republican Super PAC, and NRCC. They are going to spend a lot of money there, Andrew. And both of those candidates, both Ciscomani and Schweikert, are going to get visits from the House Republican leadership. And a seat like Ciscomani said, I don't know what's going to happen. This election is real far away. I don't know what's going to happen. But it is going to be a race that Democrats are going to pour a lot of money into as well, because a seat that Republicans only won by 0.7% is a seat that Democrats are going to see in a non-Trump year as extraordinarily vulnerable. So let's move on to the number 3 story of the morning. 2 topics in the number 3 story of the morning: California and Iowa, 2 very different states, but we have some analysis of the California map by Ali Mutnick, who broke the California map last week. Very quickly, we are going to talk about a couple things, including Ami Bera, the Democrat from California who represents Sacramento, says he intends to continue to represent Sacramento, which could mean 2 different districts, a 3rd district, which includes part of Sacramento, and Kevin Kiley's new 6th district. This is all because they redistricted the state, and it could cause some problems, could cause some incumbent on incumbent primaries. In addition to that, we have a bunch of candidates who are jumping into the race. Kermit Jones, a veteran and physician who ran against Kiley in 2022, could run in several different districts. And there are just a bunch of candidates who are looking at these seats and trying to take advantage of the new map. And also, we're going to twin this with some news from Ali Mutnick. Also, J.D. Scholten, Andrew, something you could talk about in Iowa, is dropping out of the Senate race and will endorse Josh Turek. This is a big development in Iowa. Talk about this for a minute.
Yeah, Josh Turek is a Paralympian in wheelchair basketball. He is considered a favorite among Senate Democratic leadership. And I'll just say it bluntly, Democratic leadership, they were getting worried about the fact that this is becoming a really crowded primary in Iowa, a state that they think they can flip. I mean, it's going to be a reach, right?
But listen, we'll have to see if Joni Ernst runs again, Andrew. I mean, she's sending some signals, mostly in her fundraising, that she ain't going to run again.
And look, if she decides not to run for re-election, there could be a contested primary on the Republican side too, right?
For sure. There definitely will be, and it could include a bunch of current House members. It could include Ashley Hinson. I assume it will include Ashley Hinson. For one, and there are other people in that delegation who will also take a look, Andrew.
But either way, it's going to be contested, and so this is welcome news for Senate Democratic leaders. And I will say, Josh Turek's announcement video, if you haven't seen it, you should take a watch. It went quite viral last week.
And with that, leave us a rating and review. You could subscribe to Punchbowl News at punchbowl.news. You could watch us on YouTube. You could listen to us everywhere. There's lots of places to find us. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.